Welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
Welcome back to all you Regs and to all you Shinies. Welcome to the podcast. This is the podcast. Please, before we begin, make sure that you hit the like button, you leave it a comment, you subscribe to the channel, and you join us as a YouTube member because we have that now. Ding.
99 cents a month. You can join us, get super sticker, not super stickers. You can put stickers, and you have a little badge next to your name when you are posting anything.
Yeah, and you also get exclusive emojis to use on our stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
Exclusive Littlest Pet Shop squinky emojis.
Squinky.
I hate you guys. Anyway, you can also support us on Patreon. Every single month, we'd like to do a giveaway for our patrons, and next month we're going to be giving away the 332nd Battle Pack.
The brand new one that just released on August 1st.
Yeah, yes. So if you want this sweet set, make sure that you join the Patreon in our 1313 tier. Also, if you haven't already, make sure that you're following us on all of our other social medias, that is Instagram, TikTok, X, and
not Twitter. Dang.
And Twitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, boys. How's everybody's week going?
My week is going good. I had an incident with some Jazzwares Micro Galaxy Squadron this last week. I took a visit to our local Target. I was fortunate enough to find the Series 4, which shouldn't even be out yet, of the Scout Class mystery packs. So, I took that damn thing into the dressing room, and I opened each and every one to check what character was going to be inside.
Like the scum you are.
And it's not tampering with the packaging. I'm just
inspecting the
product to make sure it's not damaged. And it's a good thing I did that, because guess what? I bought 7 of the 12 of them, and then I went home, opened them all up for real, and realized that one was defective. So I probably should have inspected a little bit more closely. It was, I believe it's there's only 15,000 of this one. It's the Captain Rex with his bark speeder, and it's missing one of the pods on the side of the speeder. Don't know how that happened. So I emailed Jazzwares last week. I actually missed this email, but they replied to me on the 7th, which would have been like literally the weekend. Mm-hmm. And then on Monday they replied. And then today they replied again and were like, hey, we don't know if you missed our email. And I was like, damn, I missed your email. So I gave them all the additional information that they needed, which was just a picture of the receipt and everything like that. Okay. But shout out to Jazzwares for having an awesome customer service. For one, they replied a second time to check to see if I missed the email, and I did. And they also have a really nice streamline customer service, I guess you'd call it, complaint page, where they just have little boxes where you can include all the information. You can include pictures, a narrative. It's very, very nice. So shout out to Jazzwares for having really good customer service. Mm-hmm. But yeah, hopefully we'll find out what happens. At the very least, I don't expect to get a free thing. I just want them to know, hey, your Chase variant is possibly a damaged, defective product. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, we had a nice little date night a couple days ago where we watched the bomb go off.
Yeah,
Oppenheimer, that was fun.
Oppenheimer's a very good movie.
So good.
I think I like the Barbie movie just a little bit more.
I agree.
I like them equally for different perspectives. Yeah. Barbie is a fun movie. It's casual, and it's like, I can go watch this and just have a good time. Where Oppenheimer is a piece of, I think, will go down as cinematic history, and it was really, really cool. Yeah. Fantastic acting, fantastic film. If you haven't seen either of them, go watch both of them on the same day. But don't be the cringe people that are watching Barbie and all walk out of the theater, a legion of 20 women all going, bye Barbie, bye.
No, that was kids, dude.
Those were kids.
That was women with their kids.
That was women with their kids.
Yeah, they were like little kids.
Yeah, that's what was crazy.
I don't think little kids should be watching that movie.
No, I don't either.
Me neither.
Don't either. But, yeah, and then also Erie Comic Con's coming up in less than a month.
Yes.
So make sure you're going to Erie Comic Con September 8th through the 10th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We will be there with a live Tika's Trading Post booth, along with our friends Skywalker Hendrix, Hybrid Tour Reviews, and 212 Hunter. Make sure that you come down, come hang out with us. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff that entire weekend. Yep. And Jacob, how was your week?
You heard me.
No.
I went on a pilgrimage to different Targets in Ohio and around Sharpsville, which is just outside Pittsburgh, and I spent way too much money on the Indiana Jones Adventure series. I picked up pretty much everything I saw that I didn't have. I think I picked up like 5 figures that day, and like I got the Hot Topic Indiana Jones Funko Pop for $6 because it was on sale, and it's the one with him with his machete and his whip, which is really cool. Yeah, I spent all my money on Adventure Series stuff. I almost have everything that was a mainline release except for 3 from the Raiders Wave, and then I just need Short Round, which I may or may not be acquiring from somebody in the Discord. So
dope.
Yeah, I'm getting close to, because I'm pretty sure the line is dead. They didn't mention anything for it at Comic-Con. Lego hasn't done a new Lego set in the new month for anything Indiana Jones. I think it's just because the movie didn't perform as well as they wanted, so they're kind of shutting down everything. So I'm just gonna scoop all the figures while they're still hanging around, so I'll just have them.
At least you got new figures for it though, after waiting this amount of time.
After waiting 10 years after Crystal Skull, and there was just that wave of figures that I had the 3-inch ones that came out then, and then they just kind of went to the wayside, and they're sitting in a box somewhere.
I feel like Indiana Jones merch, just from what I've heard, never sold well for whatever reason. It just never sold well.
Well, the problem is that I've been talking to a lot of people that are our age. I just don't think people watched the movies growing up,
right,
nor really care.
Yeah.
The only people that are still like Indiana Jones fans are like older people, and they aren't into action figure collecting. They're the type of people that go see a movie once. I've now seen Dial of Destiny 7 times. So if you haven't seen it once, that's a shame. It's a really good movie, and it left theaters yesterday, at least for our local theater, which was a bummer.
I haven't seen it yet, so. What? But I've seen 2 movies in less than 30 days, so you better mark your calendars.
I actually that is a Christmas miracle.
Theater.
I did go to the theater 2 times in less than 30 days. You
didn't see Spider-Man.
No.
Well, that's on digital now.
And I saw Across the Spider-Verse too recently in theaters. Yeah.
You saw the Spider-Verse?
I saw it in theaters. Yeah, and I'm actually gonna plan on going to see the Ninja Turtles movie as well.
I want to see that too.
It was pretty good. I'll go see it with you guys.
All they had to do was tell me that strawberry margaritas were at the movie theater. And that's all it took for me.
Yeah, we got those now. And just give me 4 more months, and then Tommy and I will get crunk at the theater.
Just give it a little bit more time.
A little bit more time.
So I just wanted to address one other thing. Were you jumping into the Rebels topic yet?
No, I was about to address the big thing for next week that we have going on that we forgot to mention. Yes, we need to.
Yes, let's talk about just before the Rebels. What are you gonna say, Tommy?
No.
What are you gonna say?
I wanna.
We're still 8 minutes in. We need to tell them the big thing that's gonna happen next week.
Let them hang on to this. What are you gonna say, Tommy? What are you gonna say?
Let the suspense get them so that they'll just scrub on the
all
little thing.
No,
scrub ahead. Plus,
some days I
skip 15 seconds.
We need more watch time. What are you gonna say?
So basically, this was brought to my attention 2, maybe 3 weeks ago now by Dawn K in the Discord. Shout out to Dawn. She let me know that we got something wrong on the podcast, and we feel it is our duty to let you guys know when you have been misinformed, because we were misinformed. A few weeks ago, we talked about an article that had come out that has since been deleted. I tried to find the article again. It's nowhere to be found.
Fake news.
Where Pedro Pascal was doing an interview after Mando 3 came out, and he said that he basically saw... Well, he didn't say basically. That he saw Mando Season 3 as a voiceover gig and nothing more. And that was being taken as he was upset because he didn't get to take his helmet off again. Well, it's actually not the case at all. I've looked at multiple articles from much more reliable sources that have come out since that initial article came out, where it's the full interview, and Pedro Pascal says that he actually suffered an injury right around the time that Mando 3 was filming, and it resulted in him pretty much only being able to do the voice for Din Djarin instead of being in the physical suit for a lot of the scenes. So, just want to let you guys know, he's not a dirtbag. He's not a piece of garbage. And
well, you never know, because we thought Lizzo was a nice person too.
Damn, you know what's crazy about that?
I'm gonna take back all the Lizzo comments until this thing is like officially like recorded, justified, like what happened, like when it comes out.
You know what's crazy about that though is how quickly people jumped on like attaching that to, well, I knew I had a reason not to like her in The Mandalorian, and I'm like, you guys missed the whole point. You took a thing that was about like people getting violated and made it about your little goofy ass Star Wars show because you didn't like a character that was in 5 minutes of an episode.
I can only hope that it's not right. I could only hope. Innocent until proven guilty.
That's not how it works anymore. No. It's guilty until proven innocent, but then you're still guilty. So now we have some exciting news to tell you guys about.
Now you're gonna.
I had that other thing.
Oh yeah.
Let me look it up.
Oh my god. Yeah,
so we got one more thing to go on until.
Oh my god, dude! The Jazzwares people already replied to me.
Dang.
Anyways, go ahead, Jackson.
So we got this really nice thing coming up around next week ish. We don't know. Is this turning into a main episode?
Yes. Let's make it the main episode.
Okay. So next week you guys are gonna be in for a really big treat, and it's a bigger treat for us. We are having none other than Vanessa Marshall, Harrison Dula on the show. Ooh. So this will be really cool. We get to talk to her. We met her at ICC, and I carried a bunch of cards with me, and I gave her one, and she was like, "You want me to come on your show?" And I said, "Yes, please." So I shot her a DM like within the hour, and she responded like before they went on to their panel for the Rebels reunion, and we got to talk to her for like just over this was supposed to happen like 2 months ago, and then things happened that had to get pushed back. So now it's finally happening. I'm super, super, super excited to do this.
And it's going to be out the week before Ahsoka's out.
Yes.
So this is going to be awesome.
And maybe this will also be a really big way to open doors to have us have more Star Wars guests on the show, because that would be awesome. Maybe we could shoot for Ezra next.
Ooh. But one of the promotions that we're having, if you're a member of our Untagunga tier for our Gungan bosses and Patreon, we are saying that if you would like to, and if you would like to join the Patreon now to get in on this, you can submit a question for us to ask Vanessa, because one of the biggest things that we had at the con was that we wanted to ask these like monumental members of the Star Wars community the big important questions that we didn't get to before. So we're opening that door of opportunity that if you would like to ask something, we'll take it down and we will try our very hardest to ask her that, time depending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't want to hold her hostage for a million years.
Yes.
But if your question is good and not inappropriate, we will ask it.
Yes.
I want to because somebody at the reunion was like, "What's your guys' headcanon trait for your characters?" I don't want to ask silly stuff like that.
We wanted to ask very, very deep-rooted lore questions and answer big questions, and maybe be the people that open up the can of worms that all these fake articles start going off, being like, this celebrity was on this podcast and said this about her character, and what could this mean for Ahsoka?
We watch our stuff that are really gonna want. I love
Michael watches our stuff, man.
But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. So get ready. This is where the fun begins.
But
super.
I am going to ask her what her favorite flavor of Pop-Tart is. I am going to ask her.
I am a very, very hardcore Pop-Tart enthusiast, so I will be waiting.
Why ask her about Pop-Tarts? Why don't we also ask her if a hot dog is a sandwich?
That is a thing.
Because we put Mark Thompson through it.
Well, because
we did do that to Mark Thompson.
I mean, honestly though, if you think about it, that's like I am very much a hot dog and Pop-Tart enjoyer, and if you're a Pop-Tart despiser, I need to know. I need to know where you stand on that. Especially like celebrities, so then I can cancel them if they if they're a Pop-Tart despiser, Gotta let them know.
Anyway.
So, speaking on Rebels, for today's topic, we had all decided that it would be a good idea, since we're having Vanessa on next week, to do an entire Rebels recap episode today. Go over the 4 seasons of Rebels, what happens in them, and what are the key plot points that you should know about the crew going into Ahsoka, just because this episode would really serve for people like Caleb, who refuse to watch Rebels, and people like Sanchez, who say they will not watch Rebels because they don't believe it's peak Star Wars.
People like our old friend Luke.
People like our old friend Luke, who refuse to watch Rebels. I will call you out by name.
Aggressively argue with us.
Yes.
About, refusing to watch the show.
I've been rewatching it. I just made it onto season 3, episode 3.
Dang.
Before you guys walked in the door. So yeah, I've been watching it through again just because I want to get to the Thrawn bit to go. But no, dive right into it.
Do you guys have the points that I wrote down up with you?
Jackson,
Yeah.
While you're getting that,
Jackson's itinerary for the hymnal.
It's not an itinerary. Just kind of go off it and
open your books to page 139 for Psalm number 756.
So,
Season 1 of our Lord
serves very much to be like the building blocks of what the show is going to be. This is where we're introduced to the cast of characters, the Rebels crew, with Ezra, Kanan, Hera, Zeb, Sabine, and Chopper.
Also, before we go any further,
Yes.
just watch the show.
This is also gonna have spoilers.
Yeah, this is gonna have spoilers. So if you want to be this is the one time I'll be okay with low views. Just go watch the show, please. It's really good.
But if you're not going to, just listen to what we have to say. So then you understand it. And you're not crying when something pops up on screen and you're like, this never happened. And when it did probably happen.
So, season 1.
Yes.
Rebels. We get introduced to the cast. Spectre 1 is Hera.
Spectre 2, your mom.
Chopper, right?
I don't remember the Spectre.
No, Spectre 2 is Kanan, isn't it? And Spectre 3 is Chopper. And then Spectre 4 is Zeb.
Spectre 5 is Sabine.
And then Ezra, and then Spectre 7 is Jason Syndulla.
But that's for the end.
Anyway, this is when we first really got introduced to Inquisitors in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
Is through Rebels, which are, if you don't know...
Just talk about it like they don't know.
If you don't know... The Inquisitors are defected Jedi from Order 66 that have been tortured and brainwashed, turned to the dark side, and now carry out the Emperor's bidding so Vader doesn't have to run around because his legs aren't that good. So he's got the arthritis in his kneecaps. So, or lack thereof.
Yes.
So the Inquisitors basically are this brother and sisterhood of ex-Jedi that hunt all remaining survivors. We've seen them in Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Rebels, and we've seen them in Kenobi.
Yeah.
As well as multiple books, and there's a new book right now called Rise of the Red Blades, which I'm pretty sure is about the origins of the Inquisitorius. It's at Target right now, so if you're a Star Wars bookworm, go pick that up.
Sorry. And one quick thing too, the big part to note about the Inquisitors is that you only see one. It's the Grand Inquisitor this entire
first season. Yeah.
This plays into the second season though.
Now the Inquisitors, all fallen Jedi too.
Yes.
None of them were ever they were just always dark side users. They were all Jedi.
All brainwashed.
All brainwashed and forced into.
When the season starts, we run into Ezra Bridger, who is a street rat on the streets of the planet Lothal.
Yes.
And his parents were killed because they were rebel sympathizers and Imperial haters, and they actively spoke out against the Empire, which ended up getting them taken away. So Ezra was on his own. So we meet Ezra at the beginning of the show, basically just fending for himself until he bumps into the Ghost Crew, and he's trying to basically hijack their heist.
He's stealing Stormtrooper blasters, which I got right on Star Wars Trivia.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
E11.
I'm just gonna let you look at that. Someone just shared it in the Discord.
Kennedy banished from Hollywood. This got serious for Disney now.
It's one of those fake videos.
It's a Mike Zero video.
Can we just...
It's got 41,000 views.
Why can't...
As of 18 hours ago.
Let's get back to the fun topic.
Why can't we get that much?
I don't think those numbers are real.
They can't. They gotta be bots, bro.
Anyways, sorry, I had to just share that real quick.
No, you're good.
Anyway.
So, yeah, like Jacob says, Ezra ends up bumping into the crew, and then this is kind of when Kanan discovers that Ezra is probably Force sensitive. And so then kind of starts the whole arc of Kanan becoming Ezra's teacher.
Yeah.
But the biggest struggle of this season with Kanan is that he never feels like he's a proper teacher for Ezra, and he can't do it because his master, as you saw in the Bad Batch, maybe was Depa-Billaba, who gets offed. So Kanan is still a Padawan when he's a fully grown adult. He's never officially knighted until
Season 2.
Yes, until Season 2 when we see that happen. But he struggles with this whole... Well, that issue the whole season of, I'm not worthy enough to teach Ezra. I can't do this right. How am I going to be, the person that teaches the next generation of Jedi, essentially?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We also get introduced to lots of fun characters throughout Season 1 that are legacy characters, Lando Calrissian and Hondo Ohnaka, who are just random people that pop up in fun adventures throughout the season. I think Leia's in season 2, not season 1.
Leia's in a later season.
Yeah,
for
she's
sure.
in season 2.
She's in
I didn't really put. Well, again, I put the main plot points because
Those are main
Leia's in it. Mon Mothma's.
Do you think
in
Leia's gonna be in Ahsoka, like as like a younger Leia, like played by her daughter, like they did for Rogue One? They like de-aged her.
That could
Do you
be a
think that
cool
like as like
idea.
a where Hera is talking to all the people?
Oh,
in
I
that
think
trailer?
I definitely think if we want to move this into what's supposed to be an Heir of the Empire movie, we're gonna have to bring back some characters like that. So it's very plausible.
I mean, they've made it very evident with they want to keep Luke as a relevant character because he keeps getting thrown in like into the side of other projects. They don't want you to forget who he is.
Or who he is right now. But basically, season one is probably the roughest season of Rebels.
It is. You gotta watch it to understand.
Similarly to Clone Wars.
Yes.
Just because it sets the groundwork and it builds the fan base, and once it builds the fan base, then they go balls to the wall. So basically, this entire season is just the fun-loving adventures of the Ghost Crew, Ezra learning to be a Jedi. And then we get the finale where they have to face the Grand Inquisitor. Ezra kind of dies, but he just gets knocked out. And then Kanan's like, "Oh, I have nothing left to fear. I have resolve." And he kills Grand Inquisitor. Fun loving, then they escape. So that's season 1.
Grand Inquisitor kills himself.
Yeah.
He goes,
He's like, there are far worse things, or he said like death is better than some other fate or something.
Yeah,
like that.
because
very ominous.
It alludes to what's coming, which at the very, very end of the final episode, not only do we see the return of Darth Vader into the fray as being what's coming for them, we also see Ahsoka show up. So Ahsoka is back in the rebellion.
And so is Captain Rex.
Yeah, well, he's not in this.
Yeah, Captain Rex kind of spurring into season 2. He's the beginning of season 2 because Ahsoka's like, hey, I got these buddies out here that might be able to help you with something, and they only know them by CT-7567 until they discover it's a old repurposed ATTE with Rex, Wolf, and
They're
Gregor.
fishing for Jupas!
They are fishing. They fish for Jupas, and that's their whole life. They want nothing else to do with the war.
It's Rex, Wolf, and Gregor?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're all chilling out
Because
there.
Gregor's like crazy.
Yeah.
Gregor's kind of lost it a little bit.
Yeah, and they use Zeb for bait to catch a Jupa, and then the Imperials come, and then they have to work together, and Kanan the entire time is having PTSD about the clones killing Depa Billaba, and he's very prejudiced towards Rex pretty much the entire season.
But if that's a cool callback, especially after seeing the Bad Batch now, you understand a lot more. I mean, you already kind of got it, if you've seen Revenge of the Sith, but after seeing the Bad Batch, you really understand why Kanan has such apprehension towards Rex.
Absolutely. But that eventually gets resolved. Season 2 is also now marked by, oh, you killed one Inquisitor? Guess what? Here's 3 more Inquisitors. And they're like, how many of these people are there?
It's 2. Until the very, very end.
True. But
most of the season, it's 5th brother and 7th sister.
And Spider-Girl and Tallhead dude that kind of
well,
looks
that's what
like
I mean. There's
Zeppo.
more than one Inquisitor.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of them.
So now they're like, holy cow, we killed one, and now there's a billion more, and they're all gonna hunt for us? Like, what does this even mean? So that's kind of a crazy point too, because again, we really didn't have an understanding of Inquisitors at the time, and then they're like, and there's a lot of them.
Another notorious villain that is basically throughout season 1 and season 2 is an ISB agent called Agent Callus.
Yes.
He's basically the main person that's in charge of getting the Lothal rebel cell. That's his job basically throughout the entirety of season 1.5.
He also played an
season
instrumental role in the extermination and genocide of the Lasat.
Yes, he was the commanding officer.
Zeb's species is Lasat. So they have some really cool fight scenes. There's one in particular where they're on Lothal fighting, and Callus just kicks Zeb's ass in a fight where he's using, what's their weapon called? Because it's a blaster that can.
No,
it's the blaster that turns into staff. We know what you mean.
I'll look it up real quick.
Okay. But basically, point of contention is he's like one of the more outstanding villains that's a constant in the show. More the Inquisitors, but the Inquisitors are basically on the hunt. What's it called?
AB-75 bow rifle.
Okay. I feel like season 2, if season 1 is about what is the story and what universe are we in, season 2 is specifically marked with these were the characters that you saw in season 1, and these are their struggles. This is where we get individual arcs for every character and their biggest like issue that they've had. So with Zeb, it's failing the Lasat people when the Empire stormed his homeworld, and then the resolution of discovering Lyra San, and then there's a whole other planet of Lasats chilling around waiting for him.
You have that arc for him, and then speaking on Agent Callus as well, there's another arc later in the season where Zeb and
Callus
get stranded on a moon of Geonosis, and basically they're forced to work together to survive, and they basically talk about their differences, and they don't make up in the moment.
Yeah.
But when Zeb gets discovered by the Rebels crew to get picked up, Callus kind of like hides, and Zeb's kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. And Zeb gets welcomed back with open arms by a family, and then when Callus gets returned, it's just like, oh, cool, yeah, you're back, whatever. So he starts to contemplate whether he's actually doing the right thing or whether or not he actually likes being in the Empire, which rolls over into season 3.
Yes.
There's also the whole thing about Fulcrum, which is this whole. First, it's Ahsoka, but the main cast and the viewers, we don't know that. But there is an assumption that can be made from the symbol of Fulcrum that it's Ahsoka. But yeah, there's this idea that there are these confidential informants, and there's broken communication in that way, where the people on the bottom, if they get caught, they literally don't know who sent them on this mission. They just know that Fulcrum did. Well, who is Fulcrum?
Yeah.
And we learn in either Clone Wars or Tales from the Jedi
it's season 7 Clone Wars.
Yeah, that Fulcrum is Anakin's kind of sub communication wave, his like little private DM. So,
which is cool. So with other characters too, we also get to go back to Hera, and we see the conflict that she has with her father, and with not wanting to fight for Ryloth anymore, or
not
now
just
he's
Ryloth, that he just wants to fight for everything.
Everything, and not so much Ryloth anymore. Even though if you remember him from the Clone Wars, he was the war hero of Ryloth because he helped liberate it. And then with Sabine, we see her sister.
It's not her sister.
Not her sister.
It's just a bounty hunter that she worked with.
Just a bounty hunter that she worked with.
Because we see her sister in season 3 when she goes back to Mandalore.
Well, okay.
Brother.
Yeah, brother.
It's not
Tristan.
Tristan, yes.
Which is just the most not Star Wars name I think I've ever heard before.
I don't know. Luke arguably isn't a Star Wars
name. Luke makes sense because it's Luke S. Like Lucas, George Lucas. Luke Skywalker, Luke S.
Luke is a biblical name.
Yeah, and then
it's like if you named all the main cast after the disciples.
It's like if I was in Star Wars and there's a dude named Todd. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just is like...
Shout out Fig Fury. Fig Fury in Star Wars.
But, at this time as well, so the Rebels crew itself is one rebel cell because the rebellion has not been fully
Phoenix
organized.
Squadron.
Yes, they are Phoenix Squadron. So they're trying to unite the rebellion for a bigger goal, and so in doing so, they find a planet to establish Chopper Base, which is now their new headquarters.
Planet's called Adelon.
Yes,
right?
Adelon.
Yeah.
And
Adderall.
No, that goes into season 3. But so they create Chopper Base. They discover that the planet's a little bit force sensitive too. The person that is on there that's force sensitive doesn't come until season 3. But the biggest apex moment of season 2 is
the end.
Yes, the ending. I'm trying to remember what the planet more.
The credits.
It's
Malachor.
Dang it!
It's Moraban in Clone Wars.
Go, Jacob.
So before we get to that, there's this part where Ezra, Kanan, and Ahsoka go to the temple on Lothal because they we want. In season 1, they talk to Yoda at this temple, and basically sets them on a new path. So they go back to this temple to see what's going on. Kanan goes on his own trip where he has to learn how to be vulnerable with himself in fighting a temple guard, which this temple guard turns out to be the Grand Inquisitor back in time when he was serving under the Jedi Order. That's his battle. Ezra speaks to Yoda and tries to learn. He wants to know to destroy the Sith, and when Yoda's trying to be like, you don't want to destroy him, but he's like, but we've already chosen the fight we want to destroy. So he tells him to go to Malachor because of the thing that's there that can actually be used to destroy the Sith. Ahsoka learns the truth that Anakin is Darth Vader at this temple. So then that leads, there's like one arc in between, I can't remember it, but then they go to Malachor, where basically they're like, okay, what is this place? And they find that it's an ancient battleground between Sith and Jedi, and everybody's like petrified. And then another Inquisitor comes out of nowhere, but he wasn't looking for them. He was actually looking for Darth Maul.
Is that 8th brother or 10th brother?
Old master.
Yeah, so Ezra bumps into Darth Maul while Kanan and Ahsoka are off chasing the Inquisitor. Yes. And then basically Maul tricks Ezra into getting a Sith holocron from the base of the temple that was like through these doors that can only be open. Rule of 2 is a big theme throughout these 2 episodes. Where Maul is basically like, oh, you get the holocron for me, it'll give you the truth that you want, when really, if you put it at the top of this obelisk, it activates this battle station, so it's like you can... Maul wants to use it to exact revenge on Obi-Wan, essentially, but he doesn't say it, but that's what he wants. And because he's like, I will exact revenge on all of my enemies, and then Kanan's like, no, that's not very cool, and then Darth Maul blinds Kanan by hitting him in the face with a lightsaber. And then Kanan ninja jujitsu while blind just tosses Darth Maul off the side of the pyramid, but he's not dead yet. And then we get the best part of this entire episode, a reunion between Ahsoka and Darth Vader, and they fight, and then Ahsoka cuts open Darth Vader's helmet, and then she's like, I'm not gonna leave you, not this time. Then he goes, then you will die, which is like one of the hardest lines in cinema history. And then they fight. Kanan and Ezra escape on the Phantom, and the place blows up. And then at the very end, we see that Kanan comes back. He's blind. It's like episode 5, where like there was kind of a win at the end, but it really feels like a loss. Mm-hmm. Where we see Vader emerge from this. We see Ahsoka. We don't really know at this point whether she's dead or alive, but we see her with her back to the audience, just walking down like this kind of corridor as the camera flies over and past her. And it's like, is this her like her Force apparition just walking away? Is she actually walking away from this fight? We don't know as an audience. Basically, you're just left in limbo until season 3.
Yes.
And so why is all of this important? And as Jacob said, Ahsoka is in Rebels. That's her connection to the Spectre crew, the Phoenix Squadron, and that's why she is looking for Ezra. That's why Sabine's story is important in this show. It's been said by Dave Filoni and other people that Ahsoka is basically Rebels season 5. So it's important to know the Rebels characters and their stories because it's relevant to what we're about to watch in like 2 weeks here. So
it's important to note too that this is the last time you will see Ahsoka until literally the 3rd to last episode of the whole season. Of the last season. But again, the story of these characters is really what's going to push the narrative now for Ahsoka, because Ahsoka's reintroduced and goes, peace, see you on the other side. But we'll get to that in a bit. So then we go into season 3.
Season 3, episode 1. I just started watching this as of an hour ago. So this episode starts off with...
Time jump.
Oh yeah, it's a 2-part for the beginning. Third episode is where stuff gets cool. We see Ezra doesn't have hair anymore. He's bald.
He has a great saber.
Bald. Yeah, he has a new lightsaber because Vader destroyed it in his staple gun one. But we see Ezra now really taking charge and command, being like really sure of himself. Last episode we saw Ezra opening the Sith holocron and his eyes were kind of yellow. Important. So now in this we see him being really sure of himself, but he's using some pretty dark tactics in all of his things. He's kind of being angry all the time. Ezra's low-key a little bit turned into the dark side at this point.
He in his Anakin era.
It's giving Anakin
Ezra
era
watched
vibes.
episode 3 in between seasons 2 and 3, and he decided that was...
He watched the Batman and American Psycho,
Yeah.
and now he's in his...
he's in his lifting phase.
He's a Sigma male now.
He's in his lifting phase.
Ezra is now a Sigma male, so at this point in time, he's reckless, he's way too sure of himself, and he's kind of a jerk.
This is also, right after that, is when we discover the being of Chopper Base, which is the Bendu, the one in the middle. Because I looked this up specifically to see when the Bendu came out. Episode 3, Season 3.
I am the Bendu.
I think it's episode
I think it might be the first 2 episodes, yeah.
But yeah, this is where the Bendu is introduced, and Kanan really uses the Bendu as a way to seek out wisdom of the Force and advice, just because it's literally the representation of the middle of the Force.
Yeah.
The Bendu is neither light nor dark, and beings of the Force can be in the middle.
He's the fulcrum. And he's not a gray Jedi, that's not a thing.
He's not a gray Jedi. Not a thing. He's like this big moose thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got to move on because I'm going to start talking about Grey Jedi. You need to move on.
Okay, so when Kanan runs into the Bendu, basically he hears them calling to him through the Force. He picks the spiders on this planet the Chopper base is on that they're a nuisance to the base because if they get into the perimeter, they wreak havoc and they kill people. So Kanan grabs this little stick that gives off these radio waves that the spiders don't like. He goes to the Bendu and the Bendu's like, "Hey, can I see your stick?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he breaks it. In breaking this, Kanan is he's blind and he's surrounded by spiders. But Kanan is able to connect to these spiders, not because of the way that Ezra connects to people through the Force, because he looks inside himself and truly sees his state of mind and who he is as a character in this moment, comes to terms with it, stops running from it, and these spiders, basically they just fed on fear. So they're not going to attack him because now he's at peace with himself. And in a trade deal that was made for this knowledge, he gives the Bendu the Sith holocron because he don't want it. He doesn't want Ezra
to have it either.
Mm-hmm. But then Ezra's in charge of a mission to get these Y-wings from this floaty base, and basically it was just supposed to be reconnaissance, and then he turns it into a retrieval mission, and it goes poorly in every single aspect that it can possibly go in. And he has to end up being rescued by Hera and Kanan, who's now back in the saddle at the very end of the episode. And yeah.
Put his pants on, discovered he needs to be the master for Ezra, because as we know, every Jedi has to be tempted by the dark side in some way to overcome it and understand that they can beat it.
Another big thing about season 3 is that it introduces us to a new villain who is extremely relevant to the Ahsoka show.
Yes. So in episode 3, we get introduced to 2 new villains of the Ahsoka series. One is Governor Pryce, very cool character. The other one is the Apex Predator, Mr. Grand Admiral Thrawn himself. This is his first time being a canon character in a show, so this was a big deal. So Thrawn comes into play, and we already see him off the rip. He's playing these guys like a fiddle. Playing them like a fiddle.
Yeah, this is also kind of where we figure out he was the mastermind the entire time that Callus and Governor Pryce were taking orders from to begin with. But now it's become so serious that he's taking charge to destroy Phoenix Squadron, because in his big knowledge of mind, he knows that the rebels are trying to organize, and Phoenix Squadron is what's trying to unite a lot of the other rebel cells. But the Empire doesn't want to believe him, so he's trying to prove that essentially now.
He's trying to lure them all out into one place at once, so you can take a snap. He can take his B-reel and show it to
his B-reel,
the Emperor, and be like, "Oh, told you."
One of the other important arcs of the season too is that the Sith holocron has to be taken back by the Bendu at some point, because now Maul and Ezra are kind of interlinked in the mind because of the experience that they had, because they tried combining both of the holocrons because Maul was holding people hostage. And it's in opening the holocrons that the knowledge that Maul gains is where Obi-Wan is. So he's like, "Holy cow, I know where he is, that's sick." And then he's like, "Mew," to Tatooine to go get Obi-Wan. And Ezra realizes this and is like, "Oh!"
So then they all go to Tatooine, and they're trying to find Obi-Wan first, and then it gets dark out, and Ezra's like, "I'm thirsty," and Obi-Wan goes, "Would you like some water?" And he basically picks him up and then sets him on an EOP or whatever and says, "Go that way, it'll lead you to Mos Eisley." Then Darth Maul comes out of the desert. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you!" And then in a very traditional samurai type fight, in one slice, Darth Maul gets capped.
It was a lame fight. It
wasn't.
lame and overhyped.
It was actually really cool.
In this moment, Obi-Wan realizes that he's Obi-Wan, but then he's this version of Obi-Wan, and then he knows that Maul will fight the same way, so he becomes Qui-Gon. And Maul sees this weakness and tries pulling the same thing he did in The Phantom Menace, and Obi-Wan can read it, and then that's why he offs him.
Character building and fights.
Character building, traditional samurai tactics where you read your opponent before the fight.
Yeah, so very cool thing, and then Darth Maul once again misses the point because before the fight starts, because he's like, you're protecting something, no, someone. So that's what starts the fight, and then after it, he's like, is he the chosen one? And then Obi-Wan's like, yeah. He's like, then he will avenge us. And he's like, that's not the point. But okay. So Darth Maul...
it's like, yeah, I believe that.
It's interesting, though, because they say that Luke is the chosen one in that
because they believe he will
moment. Be. Yeah, that's interesting to me. You know, there's a lot of stuff in Rebels that like is really abstract, and they leave a lot up for interpretation. Specifically, a lot that has to do with the Force and the way the Force works. Rebels drastically changes the way that we understand the Force in Star Wars, and that's one of the things that
it was like Star Wars was like arithmetic and algebra, and then Rebels just became calculus, and now we got to change everything about how we think about the universe.
There are like animals that or the Force manifests itself in animals that can travel across space and time,
like the Purrgil, and
the Loth wolves, and it's. There are so many different ways to use the Force, so I don't think that it should be a surprise in the Ahsoka show when they do new and creative things with the Force. This has always been something that's surrounded Ahsoka's character as well.
Yep.
From the Mortis arc to the stuff we see in Rebels with the World Between Worlds, and now this new show, I don't think that it should be a surprise to anybody when they switch it up and everybody gets hit with that. They get mollywopped in the head. Like, boing, oh, whoa, I don't like this show because now I have to change how I think about Star Wars.
Exactly. And then kind of the big ender for this is Thrawn's master plan to attack Chopper Base. He discovers that Agent Kallus has been fulcrum the entire time, feeding the rebels information.
Agent Kallus.
So he kind of busts him for that. While Fulcrum is almost about to say that Chopper Base is under attack, they discover that the Imperial fleet above Lothal is completely gone, and then bam, Thrawn shows up to attack. And this was supposed to be a big moment to liberate Lothal, because this is the first time the rebel cells were actually going to work together to do something.
And we also have, doesn't the big carrier that they capture get destroyed?
Yes.
Yeah.
They had captured an Imperial TIE fighter carrier. That gets destroyed. Sato, who's a major rebel leader, dies in this battle. Thrawn really kind of has them, and he's about to win. And the only reason that they win is that Kanan pisses off the Bendu.
And then the Bendu goes, ah, and dies.
Kanan Jarrus, you know nothing.
Kanan, lick my balls.
And then Thrawn told everybody to shoot at the clouds because the clouds are talking.
And he's like, shoot it! And then they, quote-unquote, kill the Bendu. He's not really dead.
I don't know. He doesn't come back.
He's in the Force. He is the Force.
So
you can't kill him.
How would you guys feel about if the voice actor for Agent Kallus played Agent Kallus in the Ahsoka
What's he look
show?
like?
That would be awesome.
Fun fact, Agent Kallus's voice actor is black.
What?
So, would you care if they, just had...
Why does that have to be at the top of it? I don't care.
No, I just didn't know he was...
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Because they always Star Wars has always made an effort to make the voice actor look like the person who actually voices them in case they want to bring them in. So that's wild to me, thinking that it's not actually like Kallus, but I'm fine if you want to bring in him to be Kallus. Agent Kallus was a cool character.
I, for one, don't care.
I don't care
because it's the voice actor. To me, if it was animation first, and it's the same voice actor.
Yo, he played Martin Luther King in the Selma movie.
That's wild.
What?
That's cool.
That's wild. Bro, imagine trying to listen to Martin Luther King Jr. give the I Have a Dream speech, but it's just Agent Kallus.
I hate you guys.
We should watch that later, actually.
No, that's super... I know that would... Well, okay. I feel like that would be difficult to do because one thing that Star Wars does is they kind of stick to, once a character looks like something, they don't change, even with actors. So I don't think that they could actually do that, to be honest.
Well, I mean, they changed Ahsoka's montrals, entirely for for the live action
Well,
stuff.
well, you can make the argument that was a stylization from animation to live action.
They said it was a
She was never
practicality
in
thing for that show.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that you can argue that, but
Maybe they'll throw him in the show as a different character.
That would still be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be
no!
Who did you know?
It's okay. It was just Dogma and Tup.
Oh, they're dead anyway.
Yeah.
Dogma doesn't die.
Oh, you're right.
He
Yeah,
gets
he just goes
captured
to
at the-
jail.
And you were the most stupid of them all.
Right to jail.
All right, so then in the end of season 3, we're left with the last season of Rebels. And a lot happens in this, and it doesn't really have that many time jumps. A lot of it is continuous.
Dude, the last 4 or 5 episodes of Rebels are just an eternal state of pain. Like you're
Yes.
just like, and then there's like you're crying. Oh, World Between Worlds, and then you're back to crying all
Yep.
the way through.
I agree. Because the first thing that we really start off with is the resolution of Sabine, because from the issue that we had with Maul in season 3, they acquire the Darksaber, and so she's trying to use it to unite Mandalore. When she goes back to Mandalore, she discovers that in her time when she served in the Imperial Academy before she left, she helped develop a super weapon that just vaporizes Beskar and can kill Mandalorians, even though their armor is like supposed to be impenetrable.
Like conducts electricity
Yes.
through their armor.
So she
They
has-
Basically, it doesn't destroy their armor. It turns them into pressure cookers inside the armor.
like the submarine in Titanic.
Or like Ocean Gate.
Yeah.
Why would you bring that up? That's too soon. Too soon.
No, it
They're
isn't.
going to Venus now. They're going... Did you see that?
No.
The dude that funded Ocean Gate was like, I believe I could set up a lunar colony on Venus. And he already has people willing to go.
Hey man, if you pay me enough.
Dude, that guy is like finding out the most creative way to murder people.
And get away with it.
Yeah.
You ever seen Tusk?
No.
The Walrus one. I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it.
It's a weird movie.
Kind of a nice little look into what will be the OT later is that the Rebels cruise on a mission and they bump into Saw Gerrera because they're just trying to figure out like what this shipment has. And they're
why is
freeing
this crystal so big?
Yeah, and then they find a gigantic kyber crystal and they're like, what the heck does that do?
I also just will forever hate Saw Gerrera. I
Saw
will never
Gerrera is the
ever
worst
look
character.
at Saw Gerrera and go and even if he does the most redeeming thing ever, I will forever hate Saw Gerrera
Yes.
because he is the reason that Tech is dead in the Bad Batch season 2.
I actually haven't rewatched the ending of Bad Batch since it came out. I refuse to watch it because I don't want to see Tech die and be
hate
sad.
Saw Gerrera.
We read it like a book, though. We knew Tech was going to die.
Yeah,
we did.
So that was a prediction we had right.
Mm-hmm.
So then the Rebel crew is finally like, we need to free Lothal. That's their big mission for the
Because
final
Thrawn
season.
is working on the TIE Defender, which
Yes.
is a ship that has the capabilities of TIE fighters with shields.
Yep.
And as you
Arguably
see-
superior than the Death
Oh,
Star.
it is superior to the Death Star. As you see in the Thrawn Treason novel, there's a huge point of contention between Thrawn and Krennic about where the funding is going to be allocated to, whether it's going to be the Stardust Project or the Defenders Project. And then Thrawn is like, don't put all
Are you
your
ripping
eggs...
the damn sticker off my laptop right now?
He said, don't put all your eggs in one basket and like make one thing, disperse it into this tactically superior thing across all fields. And then they're like, no, but that's gonna go brr. That's gonna go brr. So they
Just to go brrr.
yeah,
Death
also
Star-
go boom.
Death Star, yeah.
And then they go boom again.
Yeah, they mess around with the TIE Defender project a little bit, and then they decide that their biggest hit on the Empire is going to be sabotaging the TIE Defender factory
On Lothal.
on Empire Day.
When on this, at this point in the show,
It's not the factory; it's the refinery.
Sorry, the refinery.
at this point in the show, they haven't been to Lothal in a while.
Yes.
They've been out and about.
They've been strolling. They've been going up and down Walmart.
And Lothal looks like the Industrial Revolution when they
Yep.
get back.
Doesn't
Assassin's
look
Creed Syndicate.
It's not in good shape at
Smoky.
all. They're kind of always on the run because there's Imperials
They
everywhere
got
looking
that
for them.
Canadian forest fire air quality going on Lothal.
Lothal residents are now pack-a-day smokers.
Yep.
It's all dusty.
So it's also during one of the big missions that Hera ends up getting captured too by Governor Price,
Yeah.
Yeah, Hera gets captured.
which
And this leads into the most fun arc of the episode.
Hera got caught lacking.
And then Kanan's like, "I'll go rescue you." And
so
then
they come up with an elaborate plan.
and
rescue her.
then they rescue her, and then we get all this character building of them being like, I love you so much." And then they're trying to get away, and then Arinda Price goes, I know, I'll blow up the factory.
Blow up the factory.
I'll kill the rebels with my bomb. So
Shoot them with the AT-AT.
Yeah, she basically shoots the fuel reserve.
cells.
Yeah,
Yep.
she blows up everything, and then in sacrifice, Kanan sacrifices his life to save everybody. And then the next couple episodes are nothing but pain. While you watch the entire Rebels crew mourn the loss of Kanan, arguably one of the best characters in Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
So
That's what I really, really liked about Rebels was how unique it was in you really, really had to watch every character deal with and it was so real because when you have someone close to you that dies, everybody copes differently and it was
Hera
especially
was sad. Then Zeb and Sabine just were like, let's just go kill.
Yeah.
Yep. They
So,
just wanted to kill people,
they were
blow
seeing
stuff
red.
up, and act like I don't know nobody. Aha.
So yeah, that's also something very unique to Rebels. And usually if you have like a big character death, like a big one, that's gonna happen at like the very, very end. You don't usually get
Episodes, plural.
Yeah, multiple episodes about the mourning the loss of a character. If anything, that would last one episode, and it will be like halfway through. So this really spun it on his head. But this is the step that takes Ezra into his maturity.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm a broken record.
Learns how to cope and become a better Jedi through it too.
Cope.
Also, the spirit of Kanan becomes a Loth Wolf.
Dude.
So you see the white Loth Wolf is actually the spiritual embodiment of
Kanan
Kanan.
becomes a furry.
All right, guys,
No
thank you so much for
way.
watching this episode. But yeah,
That
then
happens.
they all get cornered at one point, and they got
Gregor
fight.
dies.
Gregor dies.
That's in the
Thrawn's
last
bodyguard Ruch, who's Nogri, is there. Also,
Hate Rook.
I hate how the Nogri look in canon. I have to say, because when I listen to the Heir to the Empire series and they're in that, I think these dudes look like this. Let me grab this real quick. So when I imagine the Nogri, because they talk about them being like almost cat-like, but like lizard people, I'm imagining them like with this head, just being like upright, just like upright
Massive.
people. Yeah,
The
with
Tusken
a
Raider
mastiff.
dogs.
Yeah, so the pit bulls of Star Wars. So that's how I imagine them. So I hate how I still hate how they look in Rebels because my headcanon version looks really cool.
So
Well.
that happens. We discover the world between worlds. We talked about that a lot already. Ahsoka's brought back. So this is the point.
She's like, why'd you do that? And then he's like, I can bring back Kanan. She's like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because then the sacrifice was in vain.
So yeah, this is where Ahsoka is back on the story, is caught up on everything that's happening, and she's like, I'll find you. Like,
Yeah.
and then they peace out, and the Emperor tries getting into the world between worlds, and they stop him from that.
Yeah, and then they destroy
And if you
it.
want to know more about the World Between Worlds, check out our last podcast
Yes.
episode where we went in depth, in detail about the World Between Worlds.
And then it's the ending.
Yeah, it's the ending, and then they're all fighting, and then Palpatine says, Ezra Bridger, come aboard my ship. Please, I'm a fun-loving guy.
Bridger.
I'm a very nice-looking old man. You can come on my bridge, and I can show you your parents. Bah! And then he, like, turns evil, and then
Yeah.
Ezra realizes that it was a trap. Even the giant sand dune did not show him his parents. Well, it did, but it was a false reality. So Ezra was once again tempted by the dark, and he turned away from it, and then he fights was it a force apparition of the Emperor the whole time, or was he actually there? Yeah, it was
It's a Force apparition.
So he fights it, and then he runs away, and then he faces Thrawn, and then the Purrgil come back in. They wrap up everybody, and then Ezra sacrifices himself, jumping him and Thrawn into hyperspace, disappearing and saving everybody. Very last scene of the show is we see the giant mural of the Rebels crew that we've been seeing in the promotionals. Then we see Ahsoka come to Sabine. Sabine got her hair cut.
Yep.
And then Hera has kids.
Her and Kanan had a kid.
Special information for you as well, because when we see Ezra jump away in the Star Destroyer with Thrawn, that's all the members of the Rebels crew knew it was happening. They asked Tiana Sakar to stay back and record the last part of what is Rebels, where it jumps forward after the second Death Star's been destroyed. They've formally like gone back together, and then this is where we know Hera has a kid, and that now their mission is to find Ezra, because Sabine is like, Ezra is out there somewhere, we need to find him. And so this is how we get to Ahsoka.
Yeah, the Ahsoka series is now season 5 of Rebels. It's just live action and based on it, more around Ahsoka rather than the Ghost.
We know where everybody is. So Hera is a major player in the show.
We
so
see
is
her
Chopper.
in. We see her a lot in the Squadrons game, which is a
Which we
terrible,
didn't play.
terrible, 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 terrible game. But it's canon, and I'm gonna have to finish that story to get caught up because that takes place after Rebels. So
Indeed. And then, so you have that. Obviously, like we said, Kanan is dead. I do think that he will play a part, even if it's just a mention of him by characters that are from Rebels. So it's important to still know who he is. We've seen Zeb make a cameo appearance in The Mandalorian Season 3, so he's probably going to be around. I don't think he's going to be a major player.
I hope he is, because he's just kind of chilling around with some X-Wing
Carson
people.
Teva, yeah.
But they need to get the band back together.
And then Sabine obviously is going to be like character number 2. Obviously it's Ahsoka's show, and then there's Sabine.
Yep.
I think the whole show is really only going to be about Ahsoka and Sabine. And I think Hera's going to be there, but not be super.
She's more of a vessel for them to get around.
I can't
Literally.
She's the Uber driver.
And I can't wait for the show to start, and I can already see it coming because the 3 character posters that we're getting right now of the heroes is Ahsoka and Sabine and Hera, and everybody's gonna be like, "This is a woke girl boss show," and it's like,
I disagree.
I really hope
because Rebels is already an established show.
Yep.
No, but that's the thing. We're gonna get a lot of the Mandalorian people all coming in.
Yeah, the
watching
Mandalorian
this.
people aren't going to know. And that's why we made the episode.
Well, then again, though, like a lot of those people like have canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions. I don't know. Like, I've just in general, like over the last couple months, my tolerance for stupid bullshit has just gone lower and lower, and so like the more and more I hear like those complaints from people, the less I'm like, oh well, that's dumb. I'm just like, you're stupid. You're a stupid person.
Yeah.
And then like I just don't. If they want to say something back, nope, not even gonna listen to you.
Yep.
Sorry.
Tommy is now a closed-minded civilian.
Stupid, lazy civilian. And anyways, guys, so that's what.
No, yeah, that was really it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So
go watch Rebels if you haven't already. Read the Rebels manga if you haven't already, because that's absolutely fire.
But if you're not, I mean, it's pretty close to Ahsoka now. If you don't have the time to binge the entire 4 seasons, this was your little recap. Now you get to know what happened.
This was your very, very, very brief recap.
Yes.
Rebels Crash Course.
Yep.
There's a lot more. I will recommend one quick thing. So there is a person on
Kiss
YouTube
your mother. I recommend
by the
it.
name of Artor, Artorr.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
Makes amazing Star Wars documentaries. He has one on Rebels called Star Wars Rebels: A Prophecy of Hope. If you still don't want to watch Rebels, watch that on top of this. He hits so many like really, really good deep lore points that we could only briefly cover a little bit here.
1989 Taylor's version.
And then
drops
stop saying
onto
that you're gonna
my
watch
God.
Taylor Swift is literally one of the coolest human beings ever. Shut the heck up. We're gonna finish this episode and then we'll
We are all Taylor Swift enjoyers.
I am a Swiftie.
Also, if you want to see something that's not a positive take on Rebels, there's this YouTube channel I've watched for a long time called the Cosmonaut Variety Hour. He just does like movie reviews and like TV reviews, and he hates Star Wars Rebels, and it's actually like funny to watch his feelings about Rebels. So I would recommend if you want to hear like somebody take a dump on Rebels, that's a fun video to watch.
Or don't. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We can't wait to see you next week with Vanessa Marshall. That'll be really cool. Look forward to that because we are. Links are all down below: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, X. Join the channel as a member. We really appreciate it. It helps us pay the bills here. And join Patreon if you want to win this Lego set.
Or even ask her a question.
Yeah, make sure you're in the Patreon if you want the ability to ask Vanessa Marshall, Hera Hasindula herself, a question about the Star Warses. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We'll see you guys next week.
Deuces, y'all.
Bye!
Greetings. Subscribe to the 1313 podcast And if you'd like some absolutely fire merchandise, make sure to check out the Teespring linked below. And please use your datapad to follow us on all social media that can be located on the HoloNet. Also, be sure to support us on Patreon, if you would be so inclined. May Warrior's fortune smile upon you.